They gave me 50%.
And how's that 50% divided, Neeraj?
I know. I fell for the same thing.
exactly.
So,
So,
I think we
I think all of us are the same.
Hello and welcome back to our podcast. Today on the podcast, as always, we have Neeraj Pandey, our laborer. We also have the very beautiful Anjabi, but today's guest is a very important one. We've got Neeraj Pandey, a certified big nerd who topped CBSE in science, but then just went on to do BCom. Fast forward, he's crushing it now in the financial services sector, which is very impressive for a science student. But what's even more interesting is he has a secret system that he uses to manage his personal life. So, Neeraj, welcome to the podcast. How are you today?
I'm good. Thank you for having me, guys.
Yeah. So, if you just quickly wanted to get through your background, like I know I mentioned you did science and then you moved into commerce. So, just get into that. Tell our audience who are very excited to see you here today where you started.
Okay, so I went to Emirates National School with Syed. We were classmates for a very nice period of time in 10th. I went on to do science in 12th, PCMB. My dad wanted me to be a doctor, which he's still sad about. After 12th, I had a choice of either going down engineering or taking commerce. My reason for choosing commerce was I just felt it would be easier to move into a business role because I've always wanted to work in a business. I wanted to learn how businesses work. And in my mind, I thought if you understood how money works, you would understand how businesses work in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
So I decided to go down the commerce route. It was actually one of the universities I wanted to join initially.
Okay.
Went to Amity. They offered a full scholarship. Thought that was a much better reason
I had
financially.
also offered a scholarship, right?
They gave me 50%.
And how's that 50% divided, Neeraj?
I know. I fell for the same thing.
exactly.
Same,
So,
same,
like,
I think
same.
we all
I think
fell
all
for
of
the
us are
same.
the same.
No, so I came for that with my dad. I was like, we need to do this because like 50% Harriet, great. They explained how scholarship was. I was like, that comes out of 12.5%. That's so I went to Amity. Amity was a full scholarship. Took that. 3 years at Amity. Also did my SEMA qualification. Graduated in COVID, and then I just went on from there. But yeah, it was pretty
Okay,
decent.
cool. And what was your graduation like? Like, I know it was during COVID, so was it just all online?
No, actually, we graduated in 2021, and they kept it towards the end of November. So like we were able to actually have a proper graduation in the university itself. But it wasn't like anything fancier outside, just like a hall calling people, giving the certificates. That's it.
Okay. And if you had to like describe your university life in Amity in like one or two lines, what would you say?
Amity was pretty good. I just didn't take advantage of all the extracurricular activities because first year just went by really quickly. Second year it was mostly remote due to COVID, and then after that I just focused on trying to get a job,
Okay.
trying to figure out what skills I really had. Which when you look at it as a college student, you realize you have no major real skills unless you go get an internship, learn a job. But yeah, it just went by really quickly for me.
Yeah. And what would you say like are the pros of joining Amity for anyone considering joining a university, right? Like I know you said scholarship was a big thing for you. It was 100% scholarship, which is amazing, right? Like you saved quite a bit of money. But what do you say are like some of the pros of Amity, some of the cons of Amity, in case anyone watching is deciding to join?
I think one of the best cons is the campus is really good. So like if you're someone who enjoys athletics, you can go and enjoy that. It wasn't for me.
Okay.
But it is a very nice campus in that way. Like you've got a swimming pool, you've got like a running track, you've got a football field.
Okay.
Classes are pretty nice. I don't know about the other facilities, but I think for engineering they have like some pretty good labs.
Okay.
In terms of the cons, I felt like the classes were quite big and it was difficult to engage with like all the professors.
Okay.
And the career support because it was very difficult. Like you had some really good professors who would like really tell you how to do, but the other professors would just come and go, which I think is like a normal university thing anyway.
Okay.
So it was just a normal experience.
Okay.
You also said that like your university life was pretty good because you didn't engage with the activities that was happening. So I think that's a problem that like a lot of students face nowadays because they find their uni life to be pretty boring because they don't engage. So looking back, how would you change? Like how do you make it from pretty good to excellent? Like what would you change if you have to do all over again?
I would wish that Amity had more clubs. So like Harriet had like dragon boating, right?
Yeah.
Because when you joined dragon boating, I remember you telling me, "Oh, I'm going for dragon boating." I was like, "Wow, that's really cool." But the number of clubs I think we had were like limited, and even if there were clubs, which probably I didn't know about, it wasn't like spoken about enough.
Okay.
So like they had like a small committee for organizing events, which was nice, and like the events would be organized.
Yeah.
But mostly they would just look for like volunteers. Oh, we need help on this day. We need help on that day. But as a student, you'd be like, oh, that's not really worth it, right? Like, would you go do that, or would you be out with your friends and like just go out, have fun?
Okay. And so you did your BCom and then you moved. You're currently in financial services, right? But talk us through that journey. Like, what was your first job right after graduating?
So I started doing an internship halfway through third year or second year. So second year towards the end, I got an internship that wasn't the best. It wasn't sales. I realized sales wasn't for me because like it was pharmaceutical sales in the first place. You had to
Okay.
go out, speak to like clinics, speak to pharmacies, and then figure out what it was.
Damn.
I didn't really enjoy it.
Okay.
After that, I was like, okay, because I wanted to learn more about businesses, and initially in my mind, I wanted to work at a big four firm
Okay.
as an accountant.
Okay.
And for me, my goal always kept changing. So initially, it was big four accountant, then it was
Yeah.
investment banking,
Okay.
then it was management consultant.
Okay.
So I was like, I'll start with the simplest thing, which is accounting. Like
Okay.
if I understand accounting, I think I can move up. So I got an internship towards the end of second year at an accounting firm like Business Bay itself. The first thing that they made us do was so it was like a pretty decent sized office. Like our room was this big. They had like 3-4 interns at the time. They got a backlog accounting project from a coffee shop, and they hadn't done their accounting for like 2 years.
Mhm.
It's like, okay, we need to do like backlog accounting. It would be great experience for you guys. I was like, fine, that'll be fun. Next thing you know, they're like 3-4 cartoons this big with like receipts, invoices, payment, like everything. And they're like,
Okay.
okay, start scanning. I was like, what? Like, I didn't think accounting would be
Yeah.
like that, right?
So it was
Yeah.
like a tough role, right? Like you had to do.
Yeah.
That was your first role.
And for like an entire week, all I would do was come in, go to the kitchen, get a cup of tea, sit down, start scanning the
Mhm.
documents. It took us like a week to get through like all those documents.
Yeah.
You would scan them, check the date, make sure it's like visible enough,
Yeah.
put it in the right folder. Once that was done, then it was all about like the partner, the owner, whatever you want to call it, came and was like, okay, this is how you set up like the initial books, and then you need to start passing entries.
Okay.
And it was complicated because when you do actual accounting, it's like you know where the money's coming from, you know what you're spending on, you have like exact entries. But when we were doing this, you would have all the expenditure, but you wouldn't know what the source of funding was. So you
Okay.
had to like take a guess. Was it from a bank or was it from like the owner's equity? Like you had to pass it from one place
Got
to
it.
another.
Yeah.
So that was a pretty good experience.
And
in terms
then
of
where
accounting.
did you go from there?
So I did that for 3 months.
Okay.
I went back, gave my final exam. There wasn't anything available, so I just went back. I got a full-time job there. And that
Okay.
same role, like I was doing accounting, but at the same time, they would get other projects.
Mm.
It would be like gap analysis. Like the one thing they were working really well on was like restaurants and F&B.
Okay.
So we had like more than 3 to 4 clients, and one of the clients that they had was a pretty good project where they had like big restaurants. They were making losses, I think every month on at least 3 of their outlets.
Yeah.
The one outlet was like really successful, and they hired us, and they were like, okay, figure out what's wrong. And at that point, like again, my boss told me, okay, one of them places was in Abu Dhabi, so they're like, go there, speak to the people at their branch, figure out what they do in the day to day, and then just come back. Like so, it was
Okay.
like interviewing people who work there. Like, what do you do? How do you do? Like, if you get an order, what's it like? Like, how do you walk through the whole process?
Okay. So like a key insight from there is basically like an internship helped you get your first full-time job.
Yeah.
Because a lot of students probably struggling. And it was actually a difficult time in my career as well. I'm sure you guys can relate.
Yeah.
Like once you graduate, what do we do? So doing an internship really helped. And then after that, what was like the next role? How did you reach
One more
financial
question that I
services?
had is like, how do you get an internship? Because from what I know, like
Yeah, that's a
getting
good
an
question.
internship is a hard point at this stage. Like
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
so hard to even get an internship for people. Like people are willing to work, but they don't even have an opportunity to work.
Mm.
How did you come across that? Do you use a network, or like how did you come across an internship?
And I
Yeah.
just want to add on to one more thing. A lot of students also hesitate when it comes to unpaid internships as well. I mean, not in all, all fields or everything, but the idea behind getting paid internship as well. Like, what's your take on that?
Yeah.
So my first 2 internships were unpaid, by the way.
Okay. Yeah.
So the
Which-
first
Yeah.
internship, I got scammed a bit because like they were supposed to reimburse me for my expenses. Never happened. The pharmaceutical company went. So
Alright.
in a way, it was good for me. The second internship, like the company was good, but they were like, it's a learning opportunity, so we're not going to pay you. And it was more of a startup firm, so I could understand where they were coming from
Yeah.
because like the risk is high.
Yeah.
They reimbursed me for like all my travel and this and that. And those 3 months, like I would actually think like, shit, I'm not getting paid. Is it really worth it? But I would be like, okay, I don't know anything. I need
Yeah.
to learn something, right?
Yeah.
If
So
you
that's a
can't,
key insight, right? Like even if it's unpaid, you felt like you got a lot of value out of it.
yeah, because
Yeah.
you learn. And again, I was a science student, right? You said, right? So I could get marks, like I kept my scholarship throughout, but studying for an exam is different to actually knowing what it is. Like
Mm.
you can ace an exam.
Hmm.
There's ways to prepare for exam. You can spot questions, but it doesn't work like that. So it was really good practice. Plus, like I got to speak to people, so it takes out the fear,
Mm-hmm.
especially like when you're going
Yeah.
to random people and speaking to them in a work setting.
Hmm.
So like unpaid internships, I think are fine,
Yeah.
but I still think like you can get paid internships. And
Yeah.
on the point of getting internships, if I could go back, I would start cold reaching out to people on LinkedIn. because
Okay.
I realized later on like that really adds value.
Okay.
But when I started looking, I was either relying on Amity to send like these job emails. So like we would receive emails in our student inbox like,
Okay.
oh, there's opening here. You can apply. That's actually how I got my accounting internship. So
Okay.
like they reached out to Amity, I gave my CV, they liked it, they reached out to me
Okay.
directly.
Yeah.
But apart from that, I think it is actually difficult to get an internship. And more importantly, I feel like people don't know what they want to get internships in.
That's also true. Yeah.
In a class of 40 kids that we had in our BCom batch, like everyone initially came in because they wanted to do ACCA. Like that was the whole selling point. You would get 9
Okay.
paper exemption.
Yeah.
I never
Yeah,
got
yeah,
to
yeah.
doing my ACCA because I later realized like I didn't want to be an accountant.
Yeah.
Like I know how to do it, but I didn't want to do that the whole time. And a lot of people never went ahead and completed the ACCA in the first place. So, and then people went into marketing, people went into like other things, and most people, it took them at least like 1 or 2 jobs, or they just went with the flow.
Yeah.
So I think like
So
research is
the
important.
key inside there also is like you can apply. You need to cold DM people. It needs a lot more effort, and you need to have a direction
Yeah.
where you're going. That's what you're saying, right?
Yeah.
And then from moving on from this, how did you get into financial services?
So I hopped jobs after this one. So I got
Okay.
this job. I
Yeah.
did this for about a year. Then I was like, fine, I need to like move to a different job.
Yeah.
That's how you actually get a pay raise or like get a better
Okay.
salary. So I did
Okay.
that. Went to a second company. It was fine. It wasn't what I was enjoying. It was more restricted because when you work at a firm, you get like different things.
Yeah.
You feel like you're learning.
Yeah.
In the other role, I didn't feel like I was learning as much.
Hmm.
And then I had a friend. She worked at AES, and then she referred me for this role. And I was
Okay.
quite interested by it because when I read the description, it was like super close to what investment management would be like.
Okay.
It was like looking at people's portfolios, speaking to clients. I was like, wow, that's like the dream gig, right?
Yeah.
It's pretty close to IB. It's not IB, but it's close to investment in some form.
Yeah.
So,
And a lot of people look to get into that field, right? Like investment is quite an attractive
yeah.
industry, as well as the salary package is quite attractive as well, right? So, so yeah, tell us more about like what you guys do there. What do you do there?
Okay. So what AES does as a business is it specializes in employee benefits, which is
Okay.
like group medical insurance for like big corporations, and it also has its own financial planning side.
Yeah.
And in the financial planning side, what really happens is we deal with retail clients, right? And that's an important distinction to make because when you think investments, you just think like dealing with businesses. And that's like more on like a proper formal structured way. Whereas retail finance is like priority banking, wealth management, these type of things.
Yeah.
And so what we do is we deal with clients who have who have accumulated a good amount of wealth and want to figure out where to go in life.
Okay.
And it's a very interesting role because when I initially joined, I thought it was all about, okay, client A walks through the door, you look at what they have, you look at how much they want to make, and you tell them this is what you do, and like that's it. But it is more than that because you can come to me as a client and you will say, I want to make money and like I want to reach this net worth. But a good question to ask is why? Because you might not always need $1 million. Like if you have $500,000 and you want to live in a low cost of living country, you don't want to drive a fancy car. Do you really need to hit $1 million before you can like do that? Not necessarily.
Yeah.
So like that was a very unique revelation because you go to clients, you speak with clients, and like a lot of the advisors I worked with initially would go to meetings. They would just ask about, oh, how's things going at your job? How are things going with family? Is there anything new? And you could notice like when people were agitated, their overall mood towards their finances would also be like they would be difficult to deal with. But when they were happy, they would be so happy. And it happened with a client where he was very agitated. Like, and 6 months later, when we met him, he met this woman. He was dating her. He was so happy. It was an hour-long meeting. He spoke about Chelsea Football Club, about how he's happy that they're winning again. He spoke about this woman that he's dating, and he's like, I'm like really looking forward to this relationship. And then he spoke about how he might change jobs, move to Saudi because like the salary's better, might work another year, 2 years, and then like retire. So like that idea of like how people think and like how you can make people feel is like something that I learned very well at AES because it's all about like how you interpret finances. It just isn't about like investment returns.
Yeah.
So is it similar to asset management? So is asset management and investment banking the same, or can you explain the difference between the both?
Oof. These are very technical questions, by
No,
the way.
I'm-
and I'm
because
not,
I
but
think
I'll give
when you
my
say- yeah.
understanding of it. Asset management is more like, say, Vanguard, right?
Okay.
Vanguard invests in actual companies. And they're like a fund manager, and like you can buy Vanguard's ETFs, Vanguard's mutual funds, whatever it might be. When you look at like where AES sits, it's the job of AES as a financial planner or financial advisor is to look at the market, to tell you what we think is the best, to have a systematic approach to investments. And then we pick from the available investments out there and we suggest that. And that's one part of the service of financial planning, because then financial planning looks at like, estate planning, it looks at tax planning, it also looks at like goal setting, like what is it that you want to achieve, and then do you need insurance, do you not need insurance? Because sometimes what happens is people think they need insurance, like life insurance, and they'll go buy that insurance, but you don't really need insurance. Like there are rules, not rules, but there are considerations, and you need to look at it like as an overall picture. Like if you have X and you have a mortgage and you have children, do you need insurance? Yes, no. Like it's all about discussing.
It's a huge value added service on
Yeah.
top of just asset
Yeah.
management, right?
Yeah.
And when I was telling the guys that we're going to get you on, one of the things I told them is you make more bread than a GDP of a small country. But the more important thing that intrigued Aaron anyway in the first place is I said you have a personal CRM system where you kind of rate your friends. Hopefully, I'm a 5-star friend.
He is a 5-star friend.
I am. But I thought that was really interesting way to kind of manage your personal life. And Aaron, you had a question based on that, right?
Yeah, so I just want to know how you set this up, or like how complex is it? Is it something that like, do you have to code? Do you have to like, is it just a drag and drop template? Is it anyone who's watching this video, can they set it up? So
It's a very simple thing. So it's Notion. I came across this like in university, and it was like a note taking tool at the time. And it's like a no code. You just have to follow like basic functions. So you can put / you can create a table, you can create a database, you can create so many things. Initially, I just used to use it as notes, and then I started using it as calendar. And then at AES itself, while I was working on different things, I got involved in like our internal Salesforce CRM project. And because I was curious by that, I started watching more Notion videos to see, because like a CRM is a really big thing, whereas Notion, while it can be made complex, is very easy to use for like a normal person. You don't need to think too much as long as you can understand what it is that you want to do. Kept watching videos, and then I just started working on different templates, and I built it to be like a second brain. So for example, the reason I put my friends on there is I'm notoriously bad at texting people, or I might reply late, or I might just not speak to someone for like a long period of time.
Fair enough.
And then I looked up online, I figured out how to build it up. And the one thing that's there with people is like I can set frequency of when I should contact them. So I have a 5-day reminder to message Sayed. So like if I ever go there, it's like, oh, did I speak to Sayed? I can be like, yeah, I spoke to Sayed. Like I can just click a button and then automatically moves it 5 days ahead. And you can do it. And it's a good way of like staying in touch with people, like professionally, personally. So like that's one aspect of how I use it.
Yeah. So what are Anas and Aaron rated on your system?
I don't think we're in the system.
Yeah, I don't think we're in the system exactly.
100% they're in the system. We might at my sister's wedding, no?
Yeah, but then I don't
Yes,
think he put us in
100%
the
they're on the
system.
system. What are the
Look at his
ratings?
face.
I didn't put it out because I was like, okay, I need to get the
see, we're not in
names.
the
Not in the
system.
system.
I need to get the names right? Because I put full names like Sayed, Uzair. I didn't know your last name till like today.
Yeah,
Anaswara, Pradeep.
Anaswara, Pradeep, Aaron, Jabi. So,
Aaron, Jibi. Yeah, so like they'll be there like 5-star easily.
5-star.
Yeah, it'll be
Yeah,
fine.
okay.
It's the second
I
time
see
we're
you.
meeting, but we already made it to 5 stars. So
So that means I should be like upgraded, dude. I should job hop, I should friend hop and get the 20% increase, But yeah, so that's one aspect. And then what else do you do? Like, do you use it to manage your tasks? What does the whole system have?
So
has it benefited your career in any way?
yes. So what I do is broadly I have like different ways of looking at it. One is the friendship side, like keeping people on there. The other one is you could say traveling / enjoying life. So I've got a list of all the restaurants I visited, which he knows about. I rate the restaurants, and if I really like it, I recommend it to like friends. The other side is like planning out my travels.
Wait,
so like,
just on that, which is amazing to have, by the way.
That's
'cause
crazy, yeah.
When I think, oh, what do we want to eat? There's no like argument. Man pulls out his phone and he's like, this I rated 5-star, this I rated 4-star. This is a good place. And then he remembers what exactly he ate there and what he ordered.
So I write down the specials, and if I feel like something's really good, I write on the bracket really good.
That is a
So
l-
that's amazing,
that's
right?
quite
Like,
a bit of work.
These
but
are things that you would ideally keep on the top of your mind, but having it written down somewhere makes it so much easier and
Yeah.
makes things so much faster.
Yeah, which is why it's like a second brain, because I don't have to, because I would rather keep my brain empty to think about like, okay, what do I really want to do today? What do I really want to do tomorrow? Rather than, oh shit, where did I went last time? And it becomes easier if you like set up the right systems. So I like, for instance, this today, I just put on my calendar.
Yeah.
I have a one-way this thing into Notion, so it creates it on Notion. I link it to the people I've met. So if I go to Sayed or like Anaswara or Aaron, I can see like, oh, I met them on this day. We did this. And if we go to a restaurant, I can link a restaurant. I can put down whatever I need to put down. So once you build it, it's like really simple to use. It's just like one line, and then you can keep going.
Yeah, and this is similar to like how businesses use their CRM system, right? Like when they onboard a client, they want to know which stage of that onboarding they're in. So like,
Yeah.
had they met this person, this person, this person? So I think it's incredibly
That's
interesting.
where I actually started thinking about it from.
Oh, fair enough, fair
Because
enough.
when I was working with like the CRM guy in the office, like he was explaining to me like building out systems in a way that your process works. Because I was like, no, we need this, we need this, we need this. He's like, no, what do you actually do? Because if you know what you do, then you can build it out to be that way. So for me, the convenient thing is like, if someone tells me we're doing this on like next Saturday, I can just put it on my calendar, and then it moves into Notion.
Nice.
And then whenever I'm on Notion, I can just like quickly
Nice.
type it up.
Yeah, and then so food was one, and then I interrupted you.
So like
What's the
people,
other things?
food, travel
I just
itineraries.
wanted to ask one thing about food. What's your favorite restaurant? I mean, you rated a couple of them 5 stars, right?
Oh,
Kukli in Business Bay. It's like a French type restaurant. It's like, it's a bit on the expensive side, but if you really want a one-time experience, it's amazing.
Is that a 5-star restaurant?
yeah,
in
I'm
your list?
telling you, he makes more
It's not.
bread
A,
than
it's not a. It's not about the bread. It was a one-off occasion type thing, like an anniversary or like a special date. You can go there with someone. You can sit outside. They have like this really really good way of setup. Like I don't think it's real flowers, but they've got like flowers outside. You can see the marina, like not the marina, like the bay where the water is, and you can see the boats coming in and out. You go at
Yeah.
sunset. It's amazing.
Yes,
I'm
beautiful.
just getting cut out unless they sponsor us.
Yeah.
But yeah, Kukli is like a really good restaurant.
Could be, yeah,
Okay.
interesting, yeah. And then you were mentioning the other things, like he asked, how does it benefit your career?
So I have a section on courses.
Mhm.
Any course I take, I just like categorize it as either, I think, because I'm trying to learn more about IT and like data analytics. I was never into data analytics. So I have like section on data analytics. Anything that's related to data analytics, I put it down there. Same with financial planning. So when I was like early on in my job and like people would tell me, this is what we do, this is how we do it, I would just go in there, I would write it down, and I could always go back. So like I wouldn't remember everything, but I know it's there. So if someone asks me something, I'll be like, okay, like give me 2 minutes, I'll figure it out where it is. I can just go there, refer back to my notes, and then that becomes like a reference point for me. So like I've got all my notes in there as well. I keep a task for my personal stuff. So because like you will notice like people don't pay enough attention or time to like their own personal things. So for instance, what do I need to do? I need to get like family pictures from India. So anytime I go to India, I always forget it, but now I have it as a task. So the next time I go to India, I will get like all my old family photo albums. I'll bring it back. So that's a good way because like it matters. It's a sentimental thing.
So if anyone wants access to your second brain, what would they do? What is it about? And if you had to summarize it and sell it to someone, what is it?
It's the best way to manage your personal life without thinking way too much. It's organized, and you can find in the link below.
Okay, yeah, so Neeraj, that was all very interesting. I don't know why I was laughing. It was interesting, okay. Yeah, I know you party a lot. I see your snaps every weekend. How do you manage like such a busy financial services life and a social life?
I have a very good and balanced group of friends.
Okay.
And what I mean by that is, so I focus a lot on work, and as a result of that, I didn't socialize a lot.
Okay.
But these group of friends that I really have, like they organize these events, like, oh, let's go to IMG, let's do this, let's do that.
Okay.
And so what I've done is I focus on work, but I also like make sure I attend all these like friends gathering because like it's really fun. It takes your mind off things.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like everyone should have like at least 3 things they can do in life, like focus on work,
Yeah.
focus on family, focus on friends.
Yeah.
If one is shit, you can always go to the other
Yeah.
and like
Yeah.
get your mind off things.
Yeah.
So
Okay, now how do you make these friends? Like I know in school we were kind of a bit shy. We had relatively small circle. How did you expand your circle? I think that's a question that most students, most people have in their mind.
Yeah, because
That's
they
a-
feel awkward almost all the time.
Yeah, it's
Especially freshers.
Yeah, it's
that's
awkward
a
right now
great
also.
question. It is a bit. I was
No,
very
I was joking. What do you mean it is
You're
a bit?
supposed to agree to it.
no, because like I was very introverted, and it was quite difficult for me to speak to people.
Yeah.
And I would like look for ways, like I would try to script how I would like speak to a person. Like
Oh, interesting.
yeah, like
Okay.
scripting is a very good way, right? Like you can
Okay.
say the same thing to 10 different people. Nobody will know that you're saying the same thing.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah,
smart.
that I have seen that even in professional life, right? Like they
Yeah.
say they start with the same stories.
Sales pitch
Yeah.
are always the same, right? Like
Yeah.
everyone has the same sales pitch. You just
Okay.
can't tell because like you're not the first person they're speaking to.
Okay.
So like that's how I started. Like I would try to make friends that way.
Mhm.
It was easier because like our class was like class of 40 people, and like there was a group of 10.
Mm.
That's how it started. And
Okay.
then I was friends with a guy. He introduced me to another group.
Mm.
You just go to the group. You try to speak to as many people as you can.
Okay. So
And
that's like a key insight
yeah.
there as well, right? Like speak to as many people as you can.
yeah,
how
hopefully
did
people like
you-
you, and then they start inviting you out to other
Oh,
stuff.
people like me. Oh, so sweet. But how did you overcome that anxiety? Like, I remember feeling anxious trying to speak to someone new. Like, I know you said you scripted some stuff that must have helped with the
Yeah.
anxiety. But what is there any other strategy that you use?
I just tell myself it's in the head. It's in my head, and like
It's
it
in
will
your
be
head.
fine.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, just
Yeah.
push
That is
through it.
true.
Yeah.
That is true.
And like you can feel like if you're feeling awkward, the other guy will feel awkward.
Mm.
But if you're like fine, it's okay. Like just speak.
Mm.
In a room of like 3 people, if
Mhm.
I don't know all 3, then that's like problematic. Like that's where I feel like it will be peak. But if I know at
Okay.
least one guy, if one
Yeah.
guy's taken me to like hang out, I'll be like, okay, I just need to be close to him while I speak to someone else, work my way through the crowd,
Yeah.
share something. Like just ask them, just tell them. Maybe like they might say something and like, oh, I went to this university, or oh, I really like this like chocolate. I'll be like, oh yeah, dude, same. I love it. My mom loves it. My full family loves it.
Wait, so you lie?
I don't lie, but like I'm just giving
Yeah,
an example of
yeah,
like how
nice,
you would
nice.
weave through the conversation.
Yeah, and like, what about you guys? Like, how did you expand your circles? Or I don't know.
My
what your-
circle is still like very small.
Yeah,
So
just like
my circle is a triangle, basically. Like this, three or four people. That's it.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's what I was saying at the start of this
Yeah.
podcast. Is 4 people in this room are kind of my best friends.
Yeah,
I
the
don't
thing is,
have
even
any
I
others.
have like the same
Except
problem
Yusuf,
that you
Yusuf
had.
there.
He's just gonna be watching this podcast.
I don't think he'll make it there. If he does make it there, just like text me. I think this is gonna get cut out, but it's fine. Anas, what about you, dude?
I
I know
mean-
you're the social butterfly.
Oh.
Give our audience
I
your
mean, for
thoughts.
me, I mean, in school, 11th, 12th, I was out there.
So
Wait.
starting from
Don't start
guys,
from there.
I would like to highlight that we've done a podcast before this where Anas took 60 GB worth of talking time.
Yeah.
We're gonna
60
cut that out,
GB.
right?
No, we're not
So,
gonna.
Please, Anas, say a few things, but do not.
I was literally going to complete in 1 second.
Okay, I believe you.
Oh my
Come on,
God,
come on.
okay.
You're gonna tell us how you made a lot of friends.
Okay. I mean, you know what? I'm just going to chuck school. I'm just going to go to straight up like F this.
Alhamdulillah.
Okay, so basically, I mean, during COVID time, everything locked down. It was so bad because that's when I was just with myself on my own computer, laptop, classes, everything online. It was just a shit show, right? But once uni started, I got into like leadership positions. So because of that, I had to interact with a lot of people, considering that it was all campaigns and stuff, right? And if I wanted to win, I had to go and speak to people. So because of that, I ended up having a big friend group. We'll not speak about that at the moment. The friend group has been
Why
broken
not?
down. It was,
Oh yeah, that does happen. So like, I think we all can
Very
agree
bad.
on that, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
yeah.
in uni, you have a big friend group, but once you exit uni, almost everyone kind of segregates into different.
Yeah, I started my uni life with a friend group of 20 people.
Yeah.
Now it's just 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just 2.
Which is
Like, we
very
went
normal.
down by
It's a,
the
it's
10.
a very normal thing, but
Yeah.
if I had to give advice on that, just stay in touch. You guys know each other. You guys have memories together, but now life comes in the way, right? Like you have work, you have other things.
Yeah.
So your friend group does tend to get smaller, but they're
Yeah.
still like your friends. You wouldn't say they're not my friends anymore.
Yeah, that's true.
They're just there in your circle, you know. But your circle's just become very big now.
That's
because
like
of other
80% of my
things.
friends. Yeah, I don't see them for
Yeah.
months.
Yeah, but then you schedule a text reminder.
Yeah.
which is
It's actually helped me a lot, you know.
yeah.
So
That is pretty cool.
It's very
Yeah.
smart.
I mean,
So
if I
free
had-
template down in the description. Remember
This-
that.
that's so much plug, you know.
Yeah, that's a good plug. It's a free template.
Yeah.
I think it's very useful.
One more thing I wanted to ask is like, so there's this stigma, like when you watch a series like Suits or something, people who work in investment banking or lawyering, they work like 24 hours. So that's like a thing where like, oh, people don't want to get into that field because of the work schedule. Like they treat you like with absolute disrespect. Like they just dump work on you. Is that actually true? Because I work in academia. Like it's easy. We work 9 to 5 and after that we're done. We don't have to think about work until the next day. Is it similar to you, or like how do you balance that aspect?
Financial planning is 9 to 5, you could say.
Okay.
It's so like financial planning is
A little different than investment banking, right?
one of the more chill finance careers
Yeah.
you will find out there, because
Mm.
like accounting is also difficult, like
Mm.
especially like when you hit like year end or tax year end or whatever it
Yeah.
might be, you have to like grind a lot. With financial planning, as long as like you're keeping the client happy, as long as you're doing what needs to be done internally, like it's okay. You can have a normal 9 to 5. I think I've stayed maybe once or twice after 5:30 my entire time with like AS. And when I was in accounting, yeah, like it was difficult because like you would stay till like 6:30, 7:30 because you had to like do the VAT filing and things like that.
So you have a good work-life balance.
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah.
I mean, I
Nice.
think that's pretty obvious.
Yeah, so if
Parties
you want a
and all.
referral, if you want a referral,
Parties
just
only-
reach out to Neeraj on LinkedIn because he recommends other people do that.
Okay.
So yeah, Neeraj will refer you guys. Remember that.
Exactly. Especially if you're willing to work super hard.
Oh, amazing. Guys, any other questions you guys?
What are your hobbies? Like other than like going out with friends, like what are you passionate about? Like other than work, what is something that like drives you? Like what do you do?
I feel like I'm being attacked. Yeah.
No, no,
I don't have any other passion apart from working.
Yeah, like
No, that is a hobby. That's a great hobby to have.
Yeah.
But like something that you're passionate about. Like I
How-
love watches. Like that's something that I'm
Okay.
passionate about.
his CRM
I want to
system
I
probably,
want
second
to travel
brain.
the world.
I want to travel the world.
yeah.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, tell us more about it.
Yeah, because like I traveled this year for the first time, right? Like it
Okay.
was really fun. Like nothing went according to plan.
Mhm.
Itineraries were useless.
Yeah.
I missed my flight.
Oh no.
Yeah. I missed my flight actually.
yeah.
Spent like 12 hours in Abu Dhabi airport. I was like sad. I was like, shit. First trip. This is happening to me. I finally got my visa. Flew out the next day. But like it was fun because things don't go your way. You still go out. You still have fun. You're supposed to visit this one place, but you stop for food, and next thing you know, the place you're supposed to visit is closed. So you just go and take a selfie, like, and then you like leave, and it's fun. You get to meet more people. I spoke to a few strangers, so like, I would say traveling is pretty cool.
Where
Yeah.
did you go?
So I went to Azerbaijan, I went to Armenia, and I went to Georgia.
Azerbaijan is really cool. I've been there.
Yeah.
The food there is amazing.
Yeah.
Food in Azerbaijan is amazing,
Yeah.
but I would say Armenia as a country is like really
Mhm.
cool place to visit.
Beautiful. Yeah, we'll find half of Dubai there in the next couple of months, right?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone goes there,
Yeah.
but then again, don't take my word because I
And it's
I
visa on
speed run
arrival.
through
Yeah.
the three. Don't fall for the visa on arrival stuff. That's how I missed my flight.
Mm.
But that was on me because I had
Yeah.
less than 6 months of UAE visa. So I was like, visa on arrival, that's fine.
Mm.
I walk into the airport. My friend gives his passport. He gets the visa. She's like, yeah, here's your boarding pass. You go. I give my passport. She's like, do you have a visa for Baku? I was like, no, I'm gonna get visa on arrival. She's like, sorry, you can't get visa on arrival. Here's your passport. I turn back. I'm like shell shocked. I turn back. My friend's like, it's like, dude, you can't laugh like this, right? So like visa on arrival,
Nice.
pretty bad idea.
Nice. Cool. And then, fine, Neeraj, you're here. You're doing well in life, alhamdulillah. Imagine yourself 5 years ago. What's like one piece of unconventional advice you would give to kind of your younger self?
Don't always rely on other people's advices.
Okay.
And that's because if I give an advice, it's more so from what I wish I would have done differently.
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't apply to you. Like if you want to get into like wealth management, you might go speak to someone who works in private banking. He will
Okay.
tell you like do this, but that's probably from his point of view, like maybe something he regrets he didn't do. So like take all the advice, but probably see what you feel is the best. And it doesn't matter if you like mess up because I wanted to do so many different things. I wanted to be an accountant.
Yeah.
Then I realized like that's not for me.
Yeah.
And I wanted to go into IB. I didn't, and in a way, I'm grateful because like IB hours are like stressful. People have mental breakdowns. A lot of people like leave. Like very few people I think make it past the 4 or 5 year mark.
Okay.
People are just there for the short term and then they exit somewhere else.
Yeah, and you age very fast when it comes to like IB and all that. I've seen people who like age really really fast because of the stress that they go through and all that.
The stress is mental. Like people
Yeah.
work till like 3 a.m., 4 a.m. You have to work probably 6 days a week, and like you can't see your friends. Like I struggle normally keeping up with people. Like if I worked in IB, I would not have any circle. Like it would be dead. And like people then start feeling isolated. So like it doesn't matter. Like you might go in IB, you might not like it, you can leave it. But like don't feel like anything is irreversible.
Okay. So yeah, don't be worried about making mistakes, and don't listen to other people's advice.
No, listen
And
to
don't
them,
listen
but
to
like
other people's advice.
but you don't have to
have
take
make
it
your
as-
own decision.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
don't take advice from every successful person, but take it from the person that you want to become. I think that's the right thing to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Is
that's what he
that-
meant, right? Like
Is that what you meant?
take advice from the people that you want to become more than from everyone who's successful.
yeah, but would you want to become exactly like someone? Because the people I look up to,
Mhm.
I would want very select qualities from them.
Okay.
Mm.
I would not want their entire lives because I can look at it and I can be like, yeah, that's not for me.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. And then here's another one. My rapid fire question for you. What is one thing that people don't know about financial services? What's like a secret of financial services that people don't know about?
I think I mentioned it before, but it's mostly about people's feelings.
Okay.
Like that matters more than the returns you get them.
Okay. So the analysis, the things that you add on top, the more important thing you would say is people's feelings and how it fits in their life.
No, I'm not going to say like the technical side is not relevant. It is relevant, but
Uh-huh.
it's like 60-70% of the job.
Okay.
30% of it is like how people feel about it.
Hmm.
Like you could get people like the best investment in the world,
Cool.
but that wouldn't necessarily mean like they would be happy. Like,
Cool.
because if they're just focusing on the investment, when the market goes up, they'll be happy.
Okay.
When the market goes down, they'll be sad. But like if you're saying, okay, like, you know, what did you invest for? Like I invested for like 20, 30 years time, like for my kids, for buying a house. Okay, fine. Then the small dip shouldn't matter to you, because like you're richer now than you were when you invested initially. So it shouldn't matter. Like if as long as you're able to communicate and speak to people's feelings and their goals, like people will be happy with you.
Yeah, nice. And then I guess this is the last segment of the podcast. And I really wanted to know, because we're doing this podcast to kind of help our younger selves, right? Like for me, it was very important that students come on and share their journeys, because we've had different journeys. You've kind of done science, and then you moved into commerce, and then you've kind of jumped in many places, but you're in a good place now. And if I had known that is possible, I would also maybe done science, right? So I think it's very important that you're speaking, and thank you for coming on. That's one of the reasons we're doing the podcast. Like I mentioned, the other one was Aaron's perspective, which was speak to industry experts, because I think there's a lot of valuable insight from people who've kind of done 10 years, 15 years. You kind of only realize that once you start working, right? Like once you're in your 1 year of working, you're like, oh my God, this guy has done this 1 year 15 times.
Yeah.
The amount of things they know is insane. So that's one of the other reasons. So what advice would you have for us, right? Like we're starting off the podcast. From your perspective, what could we do? Where do we go from here?
I mean, if you're trying to speak to people who are like still in university, the best people to speak would be the ones who are like 26, 27, or like not midway through their career, but who have like gone through the initial 4-5 years of their career and can give us solid advice.
Yeah.
I feel like I know a lot more than when I started, but I still feel like I know very little.
Okay.
Because there's still so much you could learn about everything.
Yeah.
And like I'm at a place where I'm pivoting, because like I know how financial planning works, but I don't really do financial planning.
Yeah.
One of the reasons why I got into Notion was because my role at work changed. It became more like business operations and like CRMs, processes, things like that. It's like I'm learning something new, and I feel like as long as you're willing to learn something new, like every person can give you something valuable. You just need to be willing to work hard and learn from people around you.
Yeah. That is good advice.
Yeah.
And what do you guys think? Like, what else should we add to the podcast?
I think maybe one quote or something that keeps you going when things get hard for you.
Ooh.
I have a whole book of these quotes in my brain.
Is the
But
Alex
go for
Hormozy
it.
book?
Yeah, the Alex Hormozy book. Yeah.
I actually have a sayings page on my Notion, which I go through. Yeah,
okay,
so
okay.
My favorite one is life comes in seasons.
Okay.
And what it like the way it helps me is like, especially for people leaving university, right? The first few years out of university would be hard, like at least the first 2 years when you're working. Because my first 2 years out of university were kind of hard. Like the first year I was like, shit, not making a lot of money. I'm learning something. I need to like make more money, do more things. Started making more money. I was like, fine, I need to do something for like my family, buy them things, take them out. Then after that I was like, okay, I need to do something for myself. I need to spend money on myself, but not way too much. I need to start saving. So like that was like the period where I was focusing so much on just trying to make sure things were working right. And then the past 12 months have been like the period where I'm finally like getting to a place where I'm enjoying my 20s, because I feel like I've traveled this year. I've gone to like you said, so many parties, which I never did in like my uni life or like when I was 21, 22, because I was like, okay, I need to like get a better job, work hard. So like life is in seasons, right? And you can choose like what season you want. You just need to be conscious of like the consequences of what comes. Like you can struggle for like 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, or you could go traveling for 3 months, 6 months, 12 months. It's up to you.
It's up to you. So life comes in seasons.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's a good one. And what about you, Aaron? General thoughts of the podcast?
No,
Things like
the whole reason of us being here is that we feel like we have a lot more to learn. Like we feel like we are like pretty stable in where we are right now, but we still have a lot more to learn. Even people who are like at this, and like looking back like 10 years, like the people who are like settling back in like 30s, or like they have enough like saved up in 30s, that level of success is now coming into people who are in 20s because of the social media, because of YouTube, because of TikTok. So like we are in a constant feeling where we have to compete with like 20-year-olds who are like way more successful than us, and like learning a lot from them. They probably know a lot more than a 30-year-old. So it's like an age is not a factor anymore to define like how knowledgeable you are anymore. So having people who are even students, like some of them might be industry expert. Like we might have an influencer who has 1 million follow who might know more about social media than a head of marketing of a certain company. Like, so we feel like bringing in people from every age group, every category. That's what we're trying to do here. I think that's something that I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, cool. Yeah. No thoughts. No one has thoughts on what Aaron just said. Just everyone looking at me now. Yeah, I think that's amazing. Probably should end the podcast pretty soon because I've run out of things to talk about. But Neeraj, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Cool. I was going to complete a sentence and maybe ask a question. We might cut this out later. But let's do the Messi Ronaldo GOAT debate right now.
I don't think it's a debate.
So
Yeah,
he doesn't
see-
think it's a debate. I will set the pretext. We are going to watch the boys fight. This is
Okay.
going to be fun.
No, I'm not gonna fight. Okay, I'm not gonna fight.
Yeah.
It's
Last
not-
time,
not-
Aaron's eyes became red and all when I was saying I think Ronaldo is the GOAT, but I do concede to the fact that Messi is slightly
okay.
better. So now that we have, I know Neeraj is a huge Barca fan. I know Aaron's a huge Ronaldo fan because he's still in the delusion stage.
See, this is the problem. You're
Yeah,
starting the
You're
podcast
gaslighting
from a
me.
biased perspective.
Fine, no, I love Ronaldo, but I think Messi has won. But Aaron has a different thing, and Neeraj wears like 7 Barca jerseys every day. It's 2024. Who is the better footballer, Messi or Ronaldo?
See, it's a very subjective topic in my opinion. Like, I believe the certain things that I value that you might not value from a player. Like, for example, if you're talking from like maybe a football club perspective, who would you buy? So, like, would you buy a player who has more longevity, or would you buy a player who performed great in his prime but then died out later? So there's multiple things to consider. Like, what
You
Messi...
just used the word died out later.
Yeah, like the after Barcelona, Messi has never been the same. Like on a
He
club
doesn't
level.
need to be the same. Like
Yeah,
he plays
so
for fun now. He's won
That's not an
everything
excuse.
he
Like
win.
you dying down and then tying that to like playing for fun is not the same thing, right?
No,
Like
it's the same thing. Like
No, it's
why,
not.
why did
Okay,
Ronaldo go to,
we'll judge at the end. So
Yeah.
like, let the
Okay.
boys get at it.
why did Ronaldo go to Saudi towards the end?
because of the money aspect, and then he's setting up his future later on. Like he's now the brand ambassador of Saudi after football, because athletes tend to go broke immediately
Yeah.
after they retire. So he set him up in a place where like he has enough fame, and he's set his kids up. He set his career up. Like he has now the brand ambassador. That's he's basically setting his entire generation
Do you
on a
not think
stable
Messi's
level.
doing the same thing?
I'm saying the same, but I'm
Yeah,
saying
but Messi's
in
also-
terms of a player, like the way Messi performed after Barca, like his stats in PSG were horrible.
Yeah, but that's a PS. I think he was injured for a starting part of the season.
Yeah, but like
right?
what he scored in 2 years, Ronaldo scored in like 14 games in Al Nassr.
Yeah, but he was not the main guy at PSG. Who was the main guy at PSG during his time there?
he was the main guy at PSG.
No,
they bought him.
Mbappe was always the main guy at PSG.
He
Yeah, but
does
that-
bring a
that
valid
doesn't-
point there.
Yeah, but then Ronaldo went to Manchester United. Ronaldo went to Juventus at the same age. Like
Yeah.
Yeah,
same
but he
age.
was
Yeah.
the main
That's
guy at
true.
all the clubs he went, right? At Juventus, he was like the star signing at an old
Yeah, but even with
Juventus
Man-
side with the only aim of winning the Champions League.
Even with
and
Manchester
he did that.
United,
He was a
right?
striker. He had like winging support. He had midfield that supported
Yeah, but
him.
that's the quality that the player adds, right? Like that's you comparing. Like if Messi was there
Yeah,
in
so, like-
Manchester United, he would have performed better. That's not a viable
But
comparison.
I think you're trying to compare Ronaldo and Messi on goals, right? But they're not both goal scorers.
Yeah.
One is like a playmaker who is really good at scoring goals. The other guy is a goal scorer.
Yeah, so then
who
the
can't
debate
playmake.
doesn't exist technically. Like
No, but the
how
debate
would you-
exists on trophies, right?
trophies in what aspect of the trophies?
You tell
Like,
me what aspect of the trophies.
If it's you can't judge it based on just
I'm
World Cup.
letting you choose the criteria.
Yeah, okay. So trophies you can do either individual trophies
Okay.
or team trophies.
Okay.
But team trophies is very unfair because it depends on the team, like you said. Like he was not the main player at PSG. PSG was not doing well. The coach of the PSG
No,
matters.
but just pick one. Pick one criteria. It's fine.
Individual trophies.
Okay, so Messi has more Ballon d'Ors, right?
Yeah, but individual trophies also applies to Golden Boots. Also applies to Player of the Year.
Yeah,
also,
but Ballon d'Or isn't that the golden standard of like being the best player in the world?
it was. It was.
Oh, it was.
Yeah, it was.
Just because Vinicius didn't ring,
No, it's
like
not.
Madrid
It's-
fans are salty right now.
It's owned by a French media company. How is that official?
Yeah, but like for years and years.
Yeah, but
and
they
years,
sold it. Like FIFA sold it to a French magazine. So
I don't know about that, but for years and years,
It was,
what's
it
the
was.
one award ceremony everyone looks forward to?
it was. It was. That's what I'm saying. It was.
Since when?
I
When did it
think
stop being?
6 years ago they sold it.
Okay, what's a mutually agreeable point that you guys will give each other?
That's the thing. There is no mutually agreeable point. Like
there has to be a common ground.
There
Okay,
is
World
no-
Cup.
yeah, see that's the thing. Like
That's not mutually agreeable.
No, I'm saying like okay, fine.
like it's hard. Like what I'm saying is hard. Like it's
No,
like,
it's not hard.
It is.
Ballon
There's
d'Or
no-
is more Messi, right? Team
Uh-huh.
trophies more Messi.
Yeah, but even with team trophies, there are like criteria. Like winning MLS and winning Premier League is not the same.
Okay, let's look.
I would just say that they were equal. There was barely any margin until the World Cup. Because like World Cup is
Yeah.
something Ronaldo really wanted to win. Like we saw him cry, right?
Yeah, we did.
So we knew he really wanted to win and
Yeah.
he didn't win it.
Yeah.
We also saw Messi cry,
Mm-hmm.
but Messi won it.
Yeah.
Which is like a historical moment.
Yeah,
Like
but like
50 years down the line,
I
you'll
can
be like, wow.
include like conspiracies of the World Cup into this podcast.
You can, but conspiracies and everything.
Yeah,
If
but-
Ronaldo would have won, there would have been conspiracies.
There's always
as well,
controversial
so-
decisions, yeah. Like
Yeah.
Madrid won 3 Champions League back to back. You think there were no controversial
No,
decisions?
there is.
No,
There
they
is. I'm
won't.
not saying there's not.
Yeah, so like, how can you go down conspiracy theory just
Yeah,
because
but
one
like,
guy won the World
but
Cup?
sometimes you just feel like it's a stretch. Like having 4, what do you call it, Copa Americas in 6 years. That's weird. Like who has 4 Copa Americas in 6 years? Like it's supposed to
The
happen
greatest
once
of
every
all
4 years.
times.
Yeah, it's supposed to happen once every 4 years.
Oh.
But they did 4 Copa Americas in 6 years, and one of them Messi won.
Oh.
So that just feels like
Let's
a Messi.
discount Copa America then.
That feels like a favored decision for Messi to win an international trophy.
Okay, but then what World Cup happened every
There were
4 years?
7 penalty decisions which were not supposed to be given. 7 for Argentina. That's more than any other team.
I did see some
I
clips
did
on
see,
YouTube.
7
Yeah.
penalty decisions were fake.
They
I
were
think
like-
I'm blind for this, so like,
Yeah, so that's the thing. It's
all I'm gonna say is he won.
Okay, can we have like a mutual, that's not a word, mutual agreeable.
both are
mutually-
goats. That's how I'm ready to settle for that.
I'm actually happy
Okay.
with that.
Oh,
He's-
both are goats.
Both
No,
are
okay.
goats.
yeah,
Yeah.
but
They
I would
just
say
spent the
Ronaldo
last
is the
5
greatest
minutes.
goal scorer.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Messi is the greatest playmaker.
No, Messi is the
That-
greatest of all time and
Nah,
everything.
I can't. I knew that was
Ronaldo is
coming.
the Ronaldo is the greatest goal scorer. Like I don't think anyone can score.
And he's also very handsome.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah,
actually.
he is.
Nice.
That I'll
Yeah.
give him that. Like
There, see.
10 by 10.
If I say it, it's not gay, right?
Okay.
I was thinking of just having a segment of you arguing, but I don't know what you're
No.
passionate about. She's passionate about dance. Do you have a
Controversial opinion on dance?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, actually, I don't have controversial
Do you
opinion.
think
Yeah,
dance
Thank
is for
you.
lame people?
Huh?
What do you-
No, I think dance is pretty cool actually.
Okay.
Thank
Just
you,
want to start
thank
But
something.
like,
Yeah.
when I was young, I used to think like dancing is a bit weird because I used to dance, but I was like, nah, it's weird, so I stopped. And
You should dance.
yeah, yeah.
Oh, that's
Like,
new information.
classical-
Yeah, good information, yeah.
No,
But
no,
it's
no,
cinematic.
no, none of that.
Hey,
like,
ballerina, no?
no,
Ballet?
normal stuff. guys.
Normal
Wow.
stuff.
Like
Okay.
3rd or 4th grade, so like it wasn't like proper.
Ah, okay, okay.
Yeah, but then like I was like, should like a guy really be dancing? Is dancing even cool? And then I stopped it. But like now when I look back, I was like, dancing is a pretty cool skill to have. Like
Okay.
imagine like just being able to dance anywhere.
I feel like it's a good social skill.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get
Yeah.
dancers on the podcast and I'll start fighting with them. So
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
ready for
Why?
that.
What?
There are a few dancers that we can think of, right?
Yeah.
but that will fight. I know who we're talking about.
And we can just start some
Plug.
controversial thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
we Just put it,
Neeraj, what's one controversial thought in your head?
which probably might get you cancelled.
He has
Nah,
like
nah, nah.
10 in his head and like he's just
Podcast
thinking
will
which
get
one should I
demoted.
choose?
Yeah, he has a
I
lot.
want-
I know he has a lot.
Like he's just going
I'm
through
just thinking
them
about
all.
which one get me
Yeah,
cancelled.
exactly.
Yeah. And like we'll agree or disagree. That'll be fun.
I think people complain too much about working.
Oh, I agree. 100%.
Ooh, interesting.
I agree.
What do you say? What do you say? Because if you
People
say,
complain too much about working.
Yeah.
Mm,
Like, oh, I have to work for this many hours, or like, oh, I have to work, I have to do this.
Oh yeah, that's
But I
true.
think that's
mean, if you-
mainly people who are like working for the sake of money. It's not working for the sake of enjoying the work. I think
okay.
Mm.
those are the
Yeah.
people who complain more
They're
than
not
anyone else.
passionate about their
Yeah,
work.
but I don't enjoy everything I do at work.
Hmm.
But you're working because you want to improve yourself. That's the core
Yeah.
reason behind you working.
Yeah.
The people
Yeah.
who don't see that, I think they are the people who complain.
Mm, that is true.
Interesting. I'm trying to play devil's advocate, but I can't think of.
Yeah.
You can't disagree with that one.
I can. So what did you say again?
People complain too much about working.
People complain too much about working. Yeah,
Yeah.
as they should. Because why should they work from 9 to 5? It's all a rat race.
Don't work from 9 to 5, but then don't complain about the fact that like, oh, I
You're
don't
not
have
making
saved
money,
enough,
yeah.
or like the world is too expensive. Like you can't stop things just because you're not.
Okay, so
Working
they're not
before.
technically complaining about working that time. They're complaining about life.
Yeah.
Okay, which is different than
You need to
complaining
work
about
in
working.
life, right? Like otherwise you'll go crazy.
Yeah.
I stayed home. I think for like I took like 1 or 2 days off because like I just had to like get rid of my holidays. I went mad. Like I didn't leave my home for 1 day and I started feeling like weird. I was like, what's wrong? I exited my home like the next day. I was like, oh, I needed some sunlight. Like if you just stay at home, like you get mad. Like what are you gonna do? Watch Netflix?
Mm.
Okay, then like there's small things you can do for yourself. Like make sure your clothes are all okay. Make sure like you've paid your bills off. But what do you do after that?
Okay, cool. Yeah, that's a tough one to disagree with. Actually, even I think you shouldn't complain about working.
Yeah.
I think
But
you should give another one.
In some, yeah, that's what I was gonna say. But in some aspect, like complaining helps you kind of ease or like getting sympathy from someone and them nodding their head and
Yeah,
being
but
like,
it's-
yeah.
but
bad
then
in
it
the
doesn't
long
make
run.
sense in
It
this
makes
context,
you
right?
it makes you feel better about your work, right? Like, oh my god, my work, I had such a terrible day at work, and then someone's like, oh yeah,
No, the
it's
terrible
fine.
day at work is fine. Like
Yeah, like
Yeah,
complaining
everyone's-
about how many hours you have to work just doesn't make sense because that's what you signed up for in the first place.
Yeah, it's hard to disagree with that. That's not a controversial opinion.
That's
Yeah,
like a
that's like a
fact.
straight up
That's a fact. Yeah,
I thought that would get me off though.
yeah.
Controversial opinion. What do you think is a controversial opinion?
You can't just. It's our podcast. You can't ask reverse questions.
It only works one way. You're supposed to.
I thought you guys would back me up on that.
No.
I
If he
can't
gets
remember
cancelled,
any of
then it's
my.
problem.
Okay, anyone who
I
has a
can't remember my
controversial opinion, by the way,
controversial
let's discuss. I think it'll be fun.
Controversial opinion. I have a lot, but I might give. I don't want to say it.
What controversial opinion have I said before that you were like, okay, that's controversial? Because I can't remember anything I've said before.
Yes, we can't air our personal conversations.
Do you think Thanos was right?
Oh, that's a good one actually. Do you think Thanos was right? Interesting.
In terms of like killing people, like wiping out.
Yeah,
half.
but
out
he was not
50%
not biased to anyone. He was not biased to the rich or the poor. He just wanted to wipe out half to save the other half.
I had to kill someone he really loved.
You
Yeah.
don't really need. He didn't really need to do that though, right?
No, but his planet died of
He
overpopulation.
needed the
and then
Infinity
enough-
Stone.
No,
No, we're not talking about that. Like we're talking about the idea of like.
no, he had to, because the whole concept is his planet died because there was no enough resources to support everyone.
Yeah, but if like okay, ignoring Thanos' point of view,
Mhm.
if humans get wiped out, like something else will come in place, right?
Yeah, but if 50% of the people get wiped out, apparently the other 50 can flourish, rather than 100% dying. That's what
Damn.
happened to his planet.
Damn. So yeah.
Do you think Thanos was
to
right?
I think the world will take care of it. Like you'll have like tsunamis, natural disasters. It'll wipe out 50% automatically. Like a lot of places might become uninhabitable. Like I feel like there was a volcano eruption in Bali recently.
Mhm.
Like stuff like that will happen. Take care of half the population. The other
Half
half
the population. Hey, go my wow.
If it
Volcano
really
would
wa-
kill half
like
the
if
population.
global warming gets worse.
3.5 billion people.
Yeah, like if global warming keeps getting worse.
Even 3.5 billion people.
You know,
die.
right? Like a lot of coastal cities in Mumbai are gonna, not Mumbai, sorry, in India are gonna like go underwater soon. Mumbai is gonna sink.
Yeah, Palm Jumeirah is
Nice.
thinking.
People from Mumbai are horrible. Just saying.
He's from Mumbai.
Yeah.
Oh.
No, I'm not from Mumbai. I'm from Nagpur.
Nagpur, Mumbai, same thing.
Not
Yeah.
same.
I'm not very like educated in Indian geography. I don't know where Nagpur and Mumbai
Oh
is.
yeah, that is
Yeah.
fair. I think it's just near Mumbai, right?
It's literally the center of India.
Fair enough. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's from the center of India, so it won't sink.
Yeah,
He'll
I'll
be
be safe
fine.
to it.
Yeah.
I think Kerala might go in the bin.
Kerala will.
Say it louder. Da. The mic won't pick up.
No, I'm pretty sure they picked it up.
I think it'll be fine.
I think it could.
So yeah, that's it. This is
Alright.
like extended cut.
Yeah,
We'll
this is
release it later.
extended
If,
cut, yeah.
We'll have to like filter
So
through this.
let's do an outro.
Yeah, let's do an outro. What's an outro?
Did I write anything for outro?
No, dude, this I can't tell
I
if this
sat
went
for
fast
too
or this went
long.
slow.
My back hurts.
So Neeraj, thank you very much for coming to our podcast. It was lovely learning from you. Your story was brilliant. I'm going to break the mic. Your story was brilliant. There's a lot to learn from. If you want referrals in financial services, Neeraj is your guy. He did not tell me to do this. I think he'll be very sad about all the LinkedIn messages he's about to receive. But if you want to download a version of his second brain, I think it's incredibly useful. I use it as well. I stole it from him. But if you want to use a version of his second brain, there's a link in the description below.
Yep.
And yeah,